It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for Season 10 of The Walking Dead. In this video, we're going to be looking at how Carol is taking on Michonne's comic book arc when it comes to the boat arc that Michonne had in the comic book. So for those of you that don't know, for non-comic readers, Michonne had a particular story in the comic book between issues 126 to 139. It was during All Out War and connected into the new beginning story arc, but Michonne went to Oceanside and went on this journey on a boat. Now, they did explore what happened to her in Telltale's The Walking Dead, but of course, in the TV show, they didn't do that with Michonne. Michonne's story went a complete opposite direction with her and Rick and all of that. But of course, everyone knew that someone is going to be taking that story arc. And on this channel, I speculated this, I think, a while back, that Carol will be taking Michonne's story arc. And it seems like that's actually going to happen. And the comic arc that Michonne had when it comes to going on this journey on the boat will be given to Carol. Now, where this comes from is directly from the Season 10 trailer. We're going to draw a lot of stuff from the trailer and what was in the trailer, what was revealed in the trailer, in order to put a little bit more context into this. And then we're going to look into what this potentially means going forward. Now, the very first instance, or the obvious instance, where we found out that Carol is being given this story arc is based on the conversation Daryl and Carol have near the end of the trailer. So we have Daryl telling Carol, "I just didn't want my best friend to spend her whole life on a boat." Obviously, by best friend, he is referring to Carol. So he's saying, "I didn't want my best friend to be on the boat her entire life, so I brought her back." So that means that before this scene happens, Carol was on a journey on the boat. And Daryl did something to convince her to come back. And that obviously sort of confirms that Carol was given that story arc. Now, what lets her to leave, we don't know exactly, but I'm sure they're gonna play off of what happened at the end of last season with the breaking of the Carol-Ezekiel relationship. So I'm sure they're gonna work that into the story, and that could have been the trigger or the start of why Carol kind of left to be on her own. Now, they did something similar during season 9 when they had Daryl just go out by himself, be in the wilderness, but I feel like that was a shrunk version of what the story was really about in the comic book with Michonne. And I'm happy that they're actually bringing out that actual storyline with Michonne leaving in the comic book, but obviously they're giving it to Carol. Now, there was another scene in the trailer that also confirmed this further. So on the trailer, we have this shot of a boat. So of course we have King Ezekiel right here. I thought this was Michonne the first time, but it's actually King Ezekiel. But we have Carol right there. So this could be when Carol is leaving, or it's when she's returning. But of course, in the background, we have Connie and Daryl as well. So maybe this is the point where Carol returns, but maybe when she returns, she's returning temporarily. And Daryl convinces her to stay. And maybe that's what leads into the conversation Daryl and Carol have that we kind of talked about before. But this is very interesting. It seems like they're definitely going that route. And they have Carol taking on Michonne's comic arc. I'm really looking forward to that. Now, the one thing that I don't understand is this scene. In the comic book, Ezekiel and Michonne were together. And they played off of that story when they had Michonne leaving. In the TV show, Michonne was in a relationship with Rick, not Ezekiel. Ezekiel was with Carol. And they are making it seem like Michonne and Ezekiel are in a relationship. They could be, doing a fake out. That's entirely possible. And also what I want to say is that this doesn't necessarily confirm that they are in a relationship. They could be kissing here, but that doesn't mean they're in a relationship. But if they are in a relationship, that makes things very interesting and confusing. So then that means that Michonne and Ezekiel are together. What does that mean with Carol and Ezekiel? How's that going to work? And, what does that really mean for the story? And how is that really going to work out with the story in terms of how Michonne might potentially leave? If she leaves, we don't know. But if she leaves to go find Rick, how is that going to work with this? And how are they going to make everything play out? But if Carol is taking on Michonne's comic book arc, then shouldn't she have that story with Ezekiel? Weren't they really teasing that and setting it up for that anyway. So that's like a complete change of direction with what we originally thought. But as far as the Carol taking on Michonne's story arc is concerned, I think that's 100% happening. But I want to know everyone's opinions about Carol taking on Michonne's story arc. What do you think about that? And also, what do you think about this scene with Michonne and King Ezekiel kissing? Do you think they're actually in a relationship or not? And what do you think the impact of this is going to be? That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads.